What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and today is an exciting one. As always, it's an install video, this time on the BMW again. So let's just get right to it. Full Cliq Tuning authentic wide body kit right here. So we have the fronts, we have the rear quarters, and then the rear doors for both sides. So yeah. So it's a, I believe, 35 in the front millimeter and 40 in the rear. It is adjustable. They give you spacers, you can adjust it, but I think I'm just gonna go with the stock width. I don't want to make it too wide because this M52 makes probably, what, 130 horsepower. So engine swap will be immediately after we finish all the wide body and aesthetic stuff, because I was kind of dumb, jumped the gun on the wide body and realized, yeah, so there's no way I'm gonna break loose a 9-inch wide rim. I have these set of Style 32s right here next to Chris. These are what I'm gonna be drifting on. Definitely not these tires because these are way too big, way too wide, way too grippy. But yeah, I think I'm gonna run a 17 by 9 in the front and a 17 by 8.5 in the rear with the wide body. We may play with those two, switch them back and forth, or run something skinnier in the back. But the goals for this car, we're gonna get it wide body first. Like I said, I have the full Overfender kit that I just showed you. This video is probably just gonna be the fronts. We're gonna cut up the fronts, mount the fronts. We're using rib nuts. I don't have the dress-up hardware yet, and I'm still waiting on the side skirts from Cliq Tuning before we can finish their kit. The rear bumper, I don't think I'm gonna run a rear bumper, probably a bash bar and a diffuser. And then the front one is either, I haven't decided yet if I wanna go with the stock M3 bumper with a lip extension or the Cliq Tuning bumper. Pretty similar, except the Cliq Tuning one's a little bit more round. So I'm gonna see how it all looks and how it comes out. But yeah, let's jump right to it. All right, so the driver's side Overfender is mounted. Chris got the GoPro set up for some time-lapse footage, so we're really kind of upping our game here. But basically, I thought that the kit sat all the way up and flush with the existing fender, but it looks like it doesn't. So we keep a pretty consistent gap here, pretty consistent gap here, and a consistent gap on like how far the fender sits up. But really the main thing is you have this body line on the door, and then it has to match up with this body line. So I may bring it up just a little bit so it lines up. But yeah, fits pretty nice on the front. Like any kit, you're gonna have to do some sanding, some filling, but looks pretty good. So yeah, I think we're gonna mock it up, drill some holes. All right, so I marked out every 11 inches apart. There's 5 up top, 1 to hold the bottom corner down, 2 on the bottom closest to the side skirt. And honestly, I'm just going to use a very small drill bit and start the pilot hole, just so we can mark it up and then take the fender off and drill into it. And then we'll basically use a step bit to get up to our size of the rib nut. We'll be all set. So I'm just kind of gonna start sending it. All right, so that's all the holes drilled. Basically, we'll just take the fender off real quick. Basically, I'll probably use one more drill bit, one size bigger, and then we'll just step bit. I think it goes up to a 3/4, and we'll put the silver rib nuts in. I'll show you guys that next. And then basically, I didn't get any dress-up hardware for it yet, but I do have some M6 hardware that we're gonna use with just a nice pan head on it to mount it up for now. But yeah. So I just went up a couple sizes, still definitely a small drill bit, but I'd rather work myself up than, you know, have it walk away on you. So yeah, we're gonna make it a little bit bigger, then I can use a step bit. So those right there are rib nuts. If anybody who's never used them before, basically you put it in a rib nut gun like this. It's super similar to a rivet gun, but basically you put it in a body panel or whatever you're mounting to, plastic, metal. Definitely they work best on metal. But there's this little crimp zone, and then it'll crimp up when you squeeze it, and it'll crimp between like the flush head of it and the crimp into your body. So you can basically have something like a threaded insert in your body, and then you can thread the bolt up to it. So these are M6 by 1.00 thread gap. So yeah, so basically you just open it up all the way. You put your right threaded bit on here. They usually come with a bunch, so I already have the M6 one on there. Just thread your rib nut on all the way. Make sure it's completely tight, and then you can tighten this down, which will just give you more clamping power. Basically, just make sure you put it in there flush, and you'll squeeze it like that. Open it back up, can break it loose a little bit just so you can spin this out.
Yep.
Alright, so definitely just drew a pretty rough line here. I'd rather cut, you know, not enough and then go back and cut more. But I couldn't fit the Sharpie under there while the kit was on, just to kind of trace that upper ridge line, just to give us enough clearance. So I kind of just eyeballed it. It really doesn't matter as long as I have a good, you know, rigidity left after I cut everything off. So I'm gonna follow that line. And everybody has their own way of using a cutoff wheel. Some people cut in and then use that line to guide them. I kind of just scrape the entire surface and then, you know, use that groove. But whatever it is, we're just gonna cut it, clean it up with the cutoff wheel, and then it should be done. All right, so one side's done. Bolted up, just hand tight, because I don't want to crack the kit without, like, you know, proper hardware. But I put 8 bolts, spread them out all evenly. I mean, this thing holds on sturdy and it's not even already all the way tied down. Definitely gonna have to clearance this. I'm not planning on running this bumper, and this is, you know, kind of useless with the next bumper, so I don't really even want to cut into it, so I could just sell this or give it to somebody. But yeah, it's clearance all the way up. Literally, it's sitting maybe an inch above the frame, the stock Fender cut. So definitely we'll be able to fit and have enough clearance for a tire. So I'm gonna take one of these tires. These definitely don't have, this has a 275 on it. I think those ones have like 240s on it. Definitely not the tires gonna be running, but this is the rim. So I'm gonna throw an 8.5 on the front and see how we fit, because I think this is a 7 or a 7.5, and let's see how it is. All right, so the front is basically done. Got a little bit late, so I didn't get to cut the passenger side fender, but take a look. So like I said, I think it's 30 or 35 mils in the front. We're definitely have to play with the rim and tire setup. I planned on running a 17 by 9 in the front. These are 17 by 8.5s, so you can see it's pretty weak. It's definitely not flush right there. But there's a huge tire on it. It's like a 235/40, which not a huge tire, but for what we're trying to clearance, it is. And the car's sitting pretty low already. So we can always raise the car. It's definitely gonna need to be more stiff. But I think what we'll do is we'll run a stretch tire, like a really low treadwear stretch tire in the front, maybe a 225/30, 225/35 on the 9-inch rim in the front, and see if we can just raise the car a little bit, make it stiff, and just clearance it. I mean, I'm all for form, but really this car is all for function. It's a drift car, so. All right, so it's the next day from the last clip of the front wide body Overfenders. As you can see, they're off right now. We're gonna start on the rear. 2 pieces in the rear, one for the quarter, one for the door. So yeah, we're probably gonna throw it on a tripod. I'll walk you guys through the first side I do, then the other side we'll just film a time lapse. So let's get to it. All right, so this side's really easy. A few pieces of duct tape. There's a clip that slides in between the quarter panel and the bumper, and really all you have to do is slide that in, and it's, you know, not gonna let it move up or down. And then you just need to match up the body line for the taillight. This sits right on the body line right here. It sits pretty damn flush on the door considering it's fiberglass. Down here, I'm gonna have to probably do a little bit of shaving just so the door doesn't hit it. But yeah, it's pretty good. And pretty wide too, so. All right, so I think I did 8 pieces of hardware on the front just because it had a little bit more curvature to it, but this one holds on really well because it has the clip. So I think all I'm going to do is one in the corner, one in the corner, one in the corner, one in the middle to hold the flex down, one in the corner here. I may possibly put one here, but this clip is right here, so it's like not moving at all. So we'll see, we can always add more. I'd rather drill less holes than too many, but let's just drill. All right, so the rear one's fully mounted up. I think that the 5 bolts is enough to hold it on. Fits pretty well. It's gonna need some slight shaving just right here on the corner so that the door can still open. But I never plan on opening these doors because I wanted the shaved door handles, but since I got the wrong pieces shipped to me, at this point we might as well make them available until they are shaved. So I was gonna cut this fender, but what I'm gonna do right now is just bolt the other one up, then cut. Alright, so I put 6 bolts on the door, corner, 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 one in the middle. They're all spaced out evenly, 18 inches apart, or sorry, 18 up top, and these ones are 13. Alright, so the full kit is done on one side. Not too happy about this body line right here. It's a little bit off. This piece needs to be a little bit higher, but like I said, I'll fix it when I get the dress up hardware. Alright, so the rear is 2 panes, so it's gonna be a little bit harder, and I don't have a welder on me right now to weld it up and seal it. There is seam sealer, but I'm gonna wait till I'm gonna fold them up basically, weld them to themselves. Alright, so at this point right here, I'm basically gonna cut everything where the skinny part is meeting up to the door. I'm gonna cut a straight line down here, all that'll be gone, and then I'm gonna relief cut all of this all the way over, and then fold it up, cut the excess off, probably leave about a 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch, so that, we can weld it on. We'll shoot some sealant back in here because this goes to the trunk, but other than that, nothing will get this way, and we should be good. They're all relief cut, they're folded up, so now we can just tack weld them to the body, and then we'll just shoot some seam sealer foam in behind this, in behind all that, and we'll paint it off so it doesn't rust, and that should be good. May have to radius the bumper a little bit, but I'm not too worried about this bumper. I don't think we're gonna run one anyways. I think I'm just gonna run a diffuser and a duck bill, so I'm not too worried about it. That's why I cut it so easily without even looking at it. But yeah, I'm not gonna weld it tonight, not gonna seal it up tonight, but we are gonna put the kit on just so I can put the 9s in the rear and see how they fit. So I'm out here trying to finish the kit today, and as I mentioned on the other side, there's this clip in here that typically slides in between the bumper and the quarter panel, but for some reason my clip is just messed up. When I put it in here, it makes the panel sit off of the actual car. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut this off, and I'll just add another bolt hole on this side and possibly this side just to match it up, because right here where all these black marks are, under there, that's where that clip is, so I never needed a hardware there and a rib nut. But I think what I'll do is I'm going to lop this one off just so that I can get it to sit flush, and then I'll just use a rib nut. Alright, so I just taped the panel up. Gas door gap is pretty good. Like I said, I cut that little clip off. It's right there. This one doesn't sit as flush as the other panel did, so it's going to take a little bit of working, but I did a better job of following the body line on this side because I still have to fix the other side. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and drill the holes the same as the other side, and then I'm going to figure out something for the gas door. I think I may put a rib nut like right here and put a nice like dress up piece of hardware on there. That's like 1 inch, so it can stick out and I can grab the door without having to put anything back here. Well, actually it's not that hard to grab, but. So the kit's mounted up, it looks good, but I think I may put an extra bolt on this side right here. Or maybe here. I'm not sure, I'm gonna figure it out, but that's not my main priority right now. It's 7 o'clock at night, so I'm gonna start cutting because I need to cut here, and I need to do some more cutting up front. So I wanna make sure I get all of that done before it gets late tonight and it becomes like a noise disturbance. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Cut the rear quarters out real quick. Then we'll mount up the door panel, which I'm super excited for because that's some of the last dents on the car right there. This was the worst panel on the entire car, that and that fender right there. And as you can see, that fender is cut out and this is about to be covered up, so let's get it. So I definitely went a little higher on the side. I definitely eyeballed it. So on the last side, I was more down here. So I took about another inch off than I did on the other side, but not a big deal. So I'm gonna cut this little fender lip off and then we'll start getting to relief cutting it and folding it up.